Hello, everyone. Welcome to the PowerUp NetZero Info Day. Really happy to see you all interested in this project and in this open call. We're going to wait a few minutes to be able for everyone to join, and then we can start. I'm seeing the number of participants increasing, which is a really good sign. On a Friday morning, makes sense to have to be informed, so we have the weekend also to think about it. Okay, I'm seeing people coming in. Okay. More numbers. Cool. Meanwhile, I can introduce myself and my colleague, which is presenting today with me. I'm Silvana Sanfeliu Jaimo. I'm working in Fondazione Piemonte Innova, an innovation entity and cluster management entity that is located in Turin, in Piemonte, in Italy. We are coordinating the PowerUp NetZero project. And today with me is also Maite Guede. Maite, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yes, well, I'm Maite Guede and I work in the Basque Mobility and Logistics cluster. We work for the competence of the all the entities that are working in the Basque country through the mobility and logistics sector. We are very happy to be here with you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Maite. And yes, in fact, today we are the faces that you will be seeing representing the consortium of PowerUp NetZero, and we are gonna introduce for the first time this open call for business innovation and technology adoption services, which we are launching next week. So I think we can start. It's gonna be registered the webinar, so we can also share it later on in our website and let's say a LinkedIn page and everything, so you can come back to it whenever you need to. House rules, in this case, is a webinar, so microphones off is mainly for me and Maite when we are not speaking, but just in case someone, I don't know, enters in the speaker's time, it's better to have the microphone off. All the questions should be written in the chat. So whenever you feel you need a question, you want to ask something, write it down, and then we will have a specific moment at the end of the presentation to tackle the questions that you have included. In case we are not able to tag them all, they are going to be answered also through the frequently asked questions that we're going to launch also together with the call. But as a reminder, everyone is welcome to ask using the chat. As I already told you, the session is recorded, and yes, afterwards you will be, let's say, receiving everything that you related to the project, and we also invite you to go and check out our LinkedIn page, which has always updates on the project specific activities, but also on different topics related to net zero technologies, which are the ones that we are tackling. Okay, next slide. Meanwhile, I see people coming in. We have just say a few words, but now we are starting, let's say officially, to talk a little bit about the PowerUp NetZero project. This is a project funded by the European Commission under the Euro Clusters call. Its aim is to support the innovation and adoption of processes, solutions, technologies that are tackling net zero technologies, in a specific 5 net zero technologies within this project, which are the ones that you find are your right. So we have solar energy, battery and energy storage, hydrogen technologies, sustainable biogas and biomethane, and carbon capture and storage. With this project, we're aiming to support the development of new solutions, innovative application, market uptake, not only let's say at European level, but also other countries that are part of the single market program can also join to be part of this project. Through the project, we are doing this with those 2 open calls. We will talk about them later. But of course, a project cannot be done by itself, and we are just representing 2 of the 6 partners of this project. As I told you before, we, as Fondazione Piemonte Innova, located in Italy, are the coordinating entity. Together with me today, there's the Maite from la Asociación Cluster de Movilidad y Logística de Euskadi, which is the mobility and logistic cluster in Basque Country. Then we have also the Environment Park, working and focusing on topics related to clean tech and energy, here also in Piemonte, Italy. We have also the ICT cluster from Bulgaria, tackling at national level all topics related to ICT and technologies. We have also as a partner Bivicom Research, which is located in Baden-Württemberg region. They are a research center, also a cluster, focusing on different topics related also to technology and innovation. And last but not least, we have TESES, which is a green tech cluster located in Slovenia. So this is the partnership that is gonna, let's say, guide you through all the PowerUp NetZero activities that we are launching today. Next slide, please. So the project targets, let's say, the main target audience of the project is, of course, small and medium entities and startups from, as I was mentioning, Europe and some countries beyond that. We are tackling especially SMEs that are both working on net zero technologies and applications, but also that are interested in adopting them or that are developing solutions that can also support further adoption of these applications. Then, of course, as clusters, we are the second interest supporting group. We are, as you know, entities that support companies, research centers, etc., at regional or national levels on specific topics, and we're working together to support competitiveness, innovation within the regional ecosystems in which we work with. And so then we have also any other stakeholder that can be from cities to corporates to citizens, any other entity that is interested in following the project, in seeing what the activities we're doing are related to, and of course, they are tackling the topics of net zero technologies, climate goals, and sustainable goals. Next slide, please. So what we are going to do within the project, we started already with the mapping of the needs of the ecosystem. We had different surveys, and we have gathered together a lot of information related on how we can better support this adoption and development of net zero technologies. Next. We are going to, starting from these needs, so we are organizing some trainings related to specific topics that we have gathered and that we know that they are of interest for the ecosystem. These trainings are open to everyone that wants to join. They're going to be online workshops, and we'll be organizing them in the next, let's say, from the second semester of this year on. Next, the project is lasting 36 months, so we are kind of like at the middle of the first year, a little bit more. And so from here on, all the activities related to supporting the ecosystem are going to start. Of course, the financial support to third parties, which is the best, let's say, the bigger part of the project, is consisting on 2 open calls that we are launching. Actually, the first one, we're launching it and presenting it today, launching it this week. And then we'll have another call that will let you know a little bit about it at the end of the project also. Further support include also other initiatives that are tackling net zero technologies. We'll be communicating, that's what I'm saying, that you should follow LinkedIn, because we are communicating not only what we are doing, but also other opportunities that could be supported. Next. And here are the, let's say, the main topic of the day. Actually, the project has almost 2 million euros that we are going to provide to small and medium enterprises, as I was mentioning, that are part of the European Union or to partner countries of the Single Market Program. This is split in 2 different types of calls. We have one open call on business innovation and technology adoption services, and another open call on innovation projects. And today, in fact, I will give the word to Maite. She's gonna present you the first call, which is the one related to business innovation and technology adoption services.
Okay, thank you, Silvana. So, well, One of the benefits of joining this info day is that you are getting the call launch date in advance. So the call will be open next week, the 21st of May, and the deadline to apply is the 30th of July. So if you are interested, maybe now is a good time to start preparing your proposal and talking to service providers, or maybe if you are a service provider, to SMEs that may want to apply. You will be able to access all the call documents once the call has been published, so we will let you know. This call supports innovation services and technology transfer activities linked to net zero technologies. So it is designed to help SMEs bring in more sustainable solutions, applying net zero technologies to their product or services, and improve the way they work through technology adoption. Each SME can receive up to 20,000 euros with at least of 20% of co-funding, and all the activities can last up to 7 months. This is general information about the call that I'm going to explain a little bit more now. So this call is open to single SMEs or startups that are based in the European Union member states or in countries taking part in the Single Market Program. To apply, companies must meet the European Union definition of an SME and must have at least one closed and validated financial year. This last condition is especially relevant for startups, so please take it into account. Please note that some applicants would be not eligible. This includes companies under liquidation or in financial difficulty, entities excluded from the European Union funding, applicants receiving double public funding for the same activities, and intermediary organizations. The grant covers external services only. This means that the funding can pay for eligible services described in the application and supported by a justified quotation of a service provider. And it doesn't cover internal costs of the applicant, such as staff costs, indirect costs, or in-kind contributions. Also, the grant can cover a maximum of 80% of these eligible costs, and the remaining 20% must be covered by the SME or the startup with private financial resources. In this slide, we give you some practical examples of how the funding works. So, if the project can fund up to 20% of the eligible cost, but never more than 20,000 euros, the rest must be covered by the company through private financial resources. This is important because the co-funding cannot come from other European Union or public funds. So we recommend you to check this text when you have the final quotations of the service provider, just to be very sure of the grant amount you may receive if your proposal is approved. This first open call is for services that help SMEs to prepare, assess, design, or plan the adoption of a net zero solution, but not for carrying out a full innovation project or a demonstration activity. This is more suitable for the second open call that we are opening later on. In this table, you can see examples of the types of services that can be funded, and this will be more detailed in the open call document. The services that can be funded include feasibility studies, technology roadmaps, basic engineering and integration, digital services for net zero, circularity and environmental, social and governance related support, and go-to-market or scaling services. What matters is that the service has a clear link to one of the net zero technologies that supports a practical next step for the company. For example, a company could request for support to assess the feasibility of a battery storage in its facilities, prepare engineering plan to integrate biomethane into an industrial process, improve photovoltaic monitoring through AI-based tools, or define a market strategy for a carbon capture solution. At the same time, some activities are outside the scope of this call. For example, pilot demonstration activities or general consulting services that don't have a direct link to a net zero technology. So, all the activities funded under this call must be linked to at least one of the 5 PowerUp NetZero technologies, which are solar energy, battery and energy storage, hydrogen technologies, sustainable biogas and biomethane, and carbon capture and storage. Applicants should clearly explain the service, the provider, the timing, and the expected impact in the proposal. Also, consider that the same service provider can support a maximum of 2 beneficiaries. So this is something to take into account. To apply, companies must submit their proposals through the European Union survey, and only applications submitted by this channel will be considered. So this is really relevant. In addition to the proposal itself, the application must also include a quotation from the service provider in English, an Excel file with the detailed activities, budget, and KPIs, a declaration of honor, and the result of the SME financial viability self-check. The form also asks for company information, service provider description, implementation details, and expected impact, especially the contribution of the proposed service for the green and digital transition of the applicant. Please also keep in mind that the application deadline is the 30th of July. And finally, please remember that only one application per company will be considered eligible. All eligible proposals will be evaluated based on clear criteria. There are 3 evaluation criteria that are relevance, implementation, and impact. Relevance looks at how well the proposal fits the PowerUp NetZero technologies and how well the proposed service responds to the needs and objectives of the SME or startup. Implementation looks at whether the service provider is suitable and experienced, whether the costs are realistic and based on market prices, and whether the work plan and timeline are clear and feasible. Impact looks at the expected result of the service, especially its contribution to innovation, digitalization, sustainability, or environmental, social, and governance performance level, as well as the potential for exploitation, transferability, and replicability. To move forward in the evaluation, proposals must reach the minimum threshold in each section and also achieve the required overall score of 70 points. This is a timeline. This shows the full selection process for this open call. So first, applicants must submit the proposal by 30th of July or earlier. PowerUp NetZero Consortium will carry out the check, which is expected to be complete by the 14th of August. At this stage, we verify whether the proposal meets the formal requirements of the call. If a proposal is not eligible, the applicant will receive a rejection email. But if the proposal is eligible, it will move forward in the evaluation stage. This evaluation process is expected to be completed by the 11th of September. And during this step, proposals are assessed against the published evaluation criteria. If a proposal is not selected, the applicant will receive a rejection email. And if the proposal is selected, the applicant will receive an acceptance email by the 16th of September. The final step is the signature of the agreement, which must be complete by the 23rd of October. And only after the agreement is signed, the project can officially start. as I mentioned, if the proposal is selected, the applicant will receive the grant agreement. But before the grant agreement can be signed, the beneficiary must send proof that they have accepted the service provider's quotation. And the project can only start once the beneficiary and the PowerUp NetZero consortium. I see one hand that is raised. Maybe
It's a
we
question,
can...
Maite, we can address it at the end.
Okay,
If
perfect.
it's okay.
Okay, so, well, when we have this agreement signed, the project starts, and well, all the progress of the project is going to be linked to the payments. So once the project starts, the beneficiary will have 2 months to submit the interim report. This report must show that the activities have really started. And after this report is approved, the first payment of 50% will be made. Then, when the project is finished, and within a maximum of 7 months till the project starts, the beneficiary must submit the final report. This report must show that the work was complete and the objectives were achieved. Once the final report is approved, the remaining 50% will be paid. So now, yes, we'll now move to the question and answer section. So please use the chat to ask any questions.
Yes, we have them in the question and answers section. I corrected that information. So it's actually in this question and answers, you can go write it out. So Maite, I can read you the questions and you can answer them if you want to answer them.
Perfect.
So the first one is, can I submit 2 applications with 2 different service providers?
Well, as we have said, only one application will be considered eligible and will be the first one. So please take into account, this is something that will be more explained in the call document, but only one application per applicant will be considered eligible.
Perfect. Second question, what are the TRL levels expected in this call, start and end?
Well, maybe more than 7, because this is not for really innovative project, but this is something that maybe we can address more in the call document, so please read it. This is more related to services that are more close to market, because it's because you want to get a net zero technology and you want to address a service that, well, you can address it during the project.
Okay. Hi, thanks for explanations on time. Are SMEs from Serbia eligible?
Well, Serbia is in the single market program, I guess. So yes, you are eligible country.
Yes, exactly. I will say something about the eligibility. In this case from the countries, there is a list, it's going to be published in the call, because there are some from the countries outside the European Union that are part of the single market program. There are some specific moments in which they have been accepted for participation to the single market program. So as a rule, we have said that all countries that have been accepted at the moment of the launch of the call can participate. Okay, what is the total duration of the project?
The total duration is 7 months till the project starts. So till the grant agreement is signed, the project starts and can last to 7 months.
Perfect. Can natural hydrogen geological projects be considered in this call?
Sorry, biological?
Can a natural hydrogen, meaning geological projects, be considered in this call?
Well, this is we don't know the innovation related to this kind of technology, but well, yes, hydrogen technologies are addressed by the call. So maybe you can give us more details about the project and we will respond to you, maybe via email. But I will say that yes.
Yeah, exactly. It depends on, like, the important thing, as we were mentioning, is that the hydrogen, like hydrogen, solar energy, batteries, biofuels, and carbon storage and capture are tackled by, at least one of these are tackled within the proposal. And then the kind of, let's say, activities and services that you're going to be doing within this call are aligned with everything that the call says. So the kind of, as Maite was mentioning, was presenting, there are specific activities that can be supported. There is going to be a table also that addresses a little bit more in depth all of this information. And at this point, you can apply for that. And we can continue with the questions. Is Switzerland considered an eligible country for the project?
Well, this is maybe something that we have respond, but yes, if you are in the single market program, in the day of the publication, you will be considered eligible. And if you are not in this program, these countries will not be eligible.
We will share with you the list of the countries, and actually in the application form, you will be finding the list of the countries so you can select one. That makes it easy, because if you're not there, it means that you're not eligible. And if you are, of course you are. I think Switzerland is not eligible though. Could you please clarify what exactly you mean by starting agreement? Thanks.
Yes, the plan agreement is a document that we must sign. It's like let's say, a contract between the beneficiaries and the consortium. And well, just to unlock, let's say, this document, you must provide a formal evidence that you have accepted the service provider quotation.
Perfect. Does it mean that the project activities can only begin after the grant agreement is signed?
That's it, yeah. When the agreement is signed, the project starts.
Would the development of data space blockchain within the five net zero technologies be eligible?
Yes, well, some digitalization tools will be, well, the kind of services that we expect to be covered by this call. So yes, this kind of digitalization technologies relate to net zero technologies are eligible to this open call.
Yes, on that, maybe I can say a little bit more. In fact, we are gonna present the other call that we are launching soon too. So I would suggest to the companies to, according to the kind of project that you want to develop, to think on which of the calls also it makes more sense. Because if you are developing a data space within these five net zero technologies, maybe the 20,000 euros that we are providing right now, maybe it's enough, maybe it's not. So, or maybe you just need this as a part of this development or for a specific part, while the other project is going to be more about projects, implementation of projects, of testing and piloting. So that's something just for everyone to know in this case. Of course, this contribution of the service call can be it can be one specific part of one bigger project that you have to. And remember that the only cost eligibles are the one of the service providers. Okay. Can a startup or an entity not yet formally registered as a company also be eligible to participate?
Well, one of the eligibility checks was to have one financial year closed and validated. So if you have not that 1 year closed and validated, the SME or the startup will not be eligible.
Okay, those are all the calls up to now. The questions, sorry. I don't know if someone else is thinking and have some specific further questions on this. Are there any specific topics that you think you need to further know? I wanted to. Meanwhile, I'm gonna include here in the answers of the questions the list of the up to now eligible. I think I can put it there. Yeah, I'm gonna put in the chat. I think the chat, everyone can see it still. The list of the current countries eligible for the single market program. So actually you see there that it has to say we are in it has to say SMP program, and then you can see to which it participates. So in this case is the strand for competitiveness of SMEs. But as I was mentioning, you will find also the complete list in the project. Okay. I think Ilker says, thank you very much, Silvana and Maite. Thank you very much, Ilker, for participating. I don't know if when we can go further, so we can tell you a little bit of what else is coming up. And at this point, if you have any more questions also to write down, you can please write it, and in that way we can continue. Okay. Maite, if you can go. Okay, perfect. So what I was mentioning a little bit before, actually for everyone, this is the second open call. This call is a little bit bigger in terms of budget, but it's also a little bit like really different to the one that we had heard before, because this actually is tackling innovation project that has to be presented by at least 2 SMEs working together. So in a consortium, the TRL in this case is higher. And here is to create new environmentally friendly products or improve current products that are already in the market or are already, let's say, tackling a specific sector and you want to apply them to other sectors. In this case, this call is going to have specific challenges that we have identified. So it's not, as anything that I can come up with in terms of one of these 5 technologies again that we are tackling, but it's going to be more specific. It's going to be launched around the 15th of June, so in 1 month. And we're still planning an info day, also a little bit before we launch it, like this one, to explain a little bit more what is happening. You will be receiving also more information about that in the following, let's say, weeks. Yes, so if you want to go to X, okay. This is kind of like an overall timeline, just to have a little bit present through the years how both open calls are going to be managed. So right now we have the launch of the first open call, which is the one that we were presenting today, Business Innovation and Technology Adoption Services, which is launching next week. And then, as you know, after the process, I don't know if then we can, if you need, we can go back again to the process as a last reminder of everyone. After the process, we have the starting of these activities that are going to be after, as Maite mentioned, after everyone signs the agreement. The agreement will be signed directly with the mobility and logistic cluster, given that they are the one managing this call. Meanwhile, so you can see in red the open call one, which is the one of today. These projects should last up to 7 months. It doesn't mean that they could last less. There are some specific projects, if you're doing a technology adoption roadmap or something like that, that maybe you can do it a little bit in less time. They're all going to be, as Maite presented, a part of the evaluation moment. So all the information that you provide, please write it down well. Please think it through, because it's going to give you it's going to give us and the evaluators all the information about how your project is tackling. But nevertheless, any kind of service that is being done through this, thanks to this call, has to be finished within 7 months. Then, and of course, there's the reporting part that is activating the payments of the interim and final amounts. Meanwhile, for the Open Call 2, the one on innovation project that is upcoming in 1 month, those are going to be longer. It says 9 months here. They can be last up to 10 because we took into account also some of the holidays that could be in the middle of the development. And they, of course, everything is, let's say, later in time than this one. Is again all in this case in green. This is just like a specific, let's say, not that specific actually, but a timeline so you can know what is expected. The idea also is that the project, as I was mentioning, this project is lasting, the PowerUp NetZero project is lasting 36 months. So we will have a spring and summer of 2028 also to track down and further monitor the impact of this financial support that you are getting from the project. So even if the project ends, you still, and this is going to be included in the agreements and everything, we will request from the beneficiaries some follow-up moments to measure what your the activities you did, let's say, generated in terms of sustainability, economic growth, social impact, etc., within your entity and around it. I don't know if you have any other questions. Up to now, I've not seen any more questions. Maybe, yeah, we have one. Yes, we already have a project idea and some activities are ongoing. Do we need to stop all activities until the agreement is signed?
Well, if you have a finance for this project development, you cannot be double funded by the project. But if you are not getting any funds, well, maybe just you can wait a little bit till if we select your proposal and well, and gets all the evaluation criteria to receive the funding from the PowerUp NetZero open call for this service, and then after the agreement, continue with the works. But we are not going to fund any activity that starts before the grant agreement.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe a suggestion in this case, exactly as Maite was saying, is because in this open call we have to we are evaluating also. I don't know, Maite, if you want to go to the slide of the evaluation also. We are evaluating the specific activity that you are doing, and actually the service provider that you're gonna be, let's say, hiring and getting for implementing the project. So if you can split what you're doing in different, let's say, modules or something like that, then it's okay, because the important thing in this case is that your activity, the service that you are getting from the provider has a beginning and an end, and we are gonna ask, as we said, for the quotation of the specific service. So in this case, and also a timeline. So all the activities that you do must start after you sign the agreement. Okay, so not not even when you say, not when you present the proposal, and not even when we say after evaluation, we will say, okay, you will receive an email saying you have been selected for funding. Not even there. The activities should start after the agreement is signed, because we are providing the budget for that specific activities, and in that way is the way that we can follow up everything. Okay. Any other questions? And as we said, there is a specific email too. I think you presented it already, or is at the end, Maite. They're like the specific, okay, here. So this is an email that is gonna get, where you can write whenever, whatever question you may have, is arriving directly to the mobility and logistics cluster in Basque Country, and in that way you will be getting the answers that you need. Of course, answers will be following the open call text. There may be some answers that we cannot provide because we cannot say if it's going to be a super good idea or not to go specifically into the ideas that you may have. We can address you and suggest, of course, as the call says, specific topics that you need to tackle. But yeah, just be aware that there will be, like, if the more specific you go, maybe it's not up to us as a consortium, just to be transparent, because we're the ones that are managing this open call. We won't be able to answer it maybe punctually, but what I do and what we do suggest for you to do also is to ask for your cluster. If you're part of a cluster in a region and a country, usually the clusters provide services to support entities in accessing to funds, and getting to know what this what the open call means, and also in checking out if everything is congruent and coherent with what is being asked. And if not a cluster, maybe you're not part of the cluster, or maybe there are also the Enterprise Europe Network entities which are actually in a lot of regions and countries within the European Union and the single market programs. So you can ask them also for their support. Usually they have services that can also guide you through the open calls. This is just because, as you know, we need to maintain a certain, let's say, transparency, but also not avoid conflict of interest if we are going to be the ones evaluating and providing the budget and the financial part for you. Okay. No other questions, I think. I'm just checking it again, but okay. Yeah, up to now, we don't have any other questions. I don't know if, okay. Will you send us the presentation? Yeah, the presentation is going to be available. We can render it available in online, and also the recording of this info day will be shared through the LinkedIn page, and potentially we are assessing a YouTube channel also to have all included there, because as I was mentioning, we are gonna also provide some workshops and webinars related to overall net zero technologies. They will be starting later on, but they are gonna be open to everyone. So we are trying to find the best way for you to access all of those. Okay, a new question. Just to clarify, does one call support multiple independent SME projects, or is there one common project per call? I don't know if I understand this correctly. If I can try to answer it, Maite? Maybe Anita, you can tell me if it's what you're asking. So This call, the one that we are explaining right now about business innovation and technology adoption services, is actually one SME that applies, and as is here one SME is one beneficiary that applies for the call with their specific, you will have to answer specific questions related to, as we were saying, the kind of activity that you are providing, and also the kind of technology that you are tackling, what are you developing, what is the timeline, and which is the service provider that you have selected. Because again, this call is to support a service that you are, let's say, getting from some entity. So in this case, is one SME can present one project activity. For the other call is two SMEs that together, at least two SMEs, it could be more, that together apply for a project that you present, and then it could or not be supported.
Yeah, so let's say that we have, well, the money or the capacity to give funding for almost 20 projects in the call for services, and in the innovation projects, we have, well, at least money for 13 projects or 26 SMEs. So I hope that we have responded your question.
There is another question is, what will be the definition of carbon capture technologies? Will timber construction count? Yeah. I think for that one, in this case is, for this first call, as I was mentioning, the important thing is like, you can apply or you can consider carbon capture technologies, and overall, we are not limiting on definitions and specific topics. In the first open call, Maite, if you want to go to the table when the activities that are being founded are, you have to tackle it from the point of view of the this. So you can. The idea is for you to present one of these services. Here, the examples may be mainly going towards some logistics or some thermal process vehicles and that, but actually we are preparing some other moments to provide you for examples of application on other industries. So if there are specific things that it could be technical and economic feasibility, technology roadmap, basic engineering and integration, digital services of net zero technologies, circularity, go-to-market and scaling related to a carbon capture technology, and a specific event sector, you can go for it. So we are not, as you see, we are not narrowing down the application of the technology or the sector there is. The important thing is that it is related to one of these activities, and at the same time to at least one of the net zero technologies or net zero topics that we have. Okay, exactly. Okay. We still have around 10 minutes for any further question. Maybe we can leave a little bit more. Yeah, might if you want to like conclude with specific reminders to everyone with the dates maybe and things like that, it could be a good idea.
Yeah, maybe, well, you can apply to both of the open calls, but just, well, keep in mind that the limit for each SME is 60,000 euro. Maybe this is important information for you, just to be prepared for both of the open calls. Well, and maybe, well, we have here the last day will be next week. The deadline for submitting the proposals through the survey is the 30th of July. Maybe we can go to the timeline. So, well, this is the process for the evaluation timeline. If you submit any proposal, we will do the eligibility check, and only if your proposal is eligible, we'll pass to the evaluation process. If it is selected, we will send you an acceptance email, and only then we will be preparing the agreement signature. This agreement must be signed by the 23rd of October, but just keep in mind that you must send this accept quotation or an evidence that told us that you have accepted this quotation, because you cannot change the service provider during the project implementation. So only when we have signed this document, this agreement with you and I, the Basque Mobility and Logistics Cluster, and the SME that will be the beneficiary of this project, well, we will start the project that will last up to 7 months, and we'll start receiving the payments, the first one of the 50% and the last one of the last 50%. I think that this is very easy to understand, but just to keep in mind all the data and the evaluation and all the process.
Perfect. So I don't see any more questions coming up. So I think we can then leave it here. We still have time for get a coffee in case you have any other further meetings today. Thank you very much to all participants for your interest. Looking forward to receive your proposals and your questions if you may have more, but just proposals and ideas, and we're looking forward to be able to support you in this path towards net zero technologies. As Maite was saying, just wait for next week, and you can start applying for all the different calls, and at the same time reading well the open call. So please read it carefully. Please also really think about your specific answers in the application form that will be available. Actually, on the application form, it's going to be on the EU survey platform. In there, you can even create a draft, so you can think a little bit about how and what to write, and we will render available for you also this a Word document that you can use just like a, let's say, backend Word to develop your proposal better, in case it's easier to write on a Word. But then remember that you have to go to the EU survey form and apply from there. The call is going to be open 2 months, so you will have time to analyze it well and to answer it well. And yeah, may the best proposals and services win. Okay. Thank you, Maite, for all the information you have shared, and for everyone. Maite is the person of reference for this call. So yes, looking forward to receive all of your applications. Thank you very much, and have a lovely weekend.